It's always big news when Valve moves to do something besides just maintain Steam. In this case, trademarking a new Steam product only known as the Steam Frame. What is it exactly? But if you like this video or any other video I've made, please like, subscribe, and share with all of your friends. And in the meantime, why don't you check out Off the Console? It's a brand new podcast created by me, Gardner Bryant, and Games Revealed, with guest stars occasionally. Check it out. The Steam Frame trademark was filed on September the 2nd, but essentially this trademark is meant to cover the categories of computer game consoles for recreational game playing, video game consoles, video game accessories, and namely controllers for video games. If you really think about it, it's like every other console trademark. I mean, it's a console and console accessories, right? But there's also a second trademark meant to cover computer hardware, computer networking software, computer peripherals, computer hardware and computer software for reproduction, processing, and streaming of audio, video, data, text, and multimedia content. We'll talk about the second one later, but first let's talk about the first one, the console itself. How do we know it's a console? Well, we don't know for certain that it's a console, but I mean the trademark says it's for a console, so why wouldn't it be, right? Not to mention, very recently we had Geekbench scores published from a Valve Fremont. And for those who don't know, that's the code name for whatever hardware Valve is working on next. Rumored to be the upcoming Valve console, the resurrected concept of a Steam machine. And for those who don't know, the Steam machine was Valve's first hardware, their very first attempt at breaking into the living room as a sort of console, so to speak. It used PC hardware, and yes, it could play your Steam games, and yes, it ran SteamOS, but this was before Proton existed. This was back when Valve was trying to court developers into developing native Linux versions of games, and while some did, others promised Linux support but never delivered. But of course the Steam machines failed, and they learned from this failure by creating Proton, which of course lets you run most of your Windows games on SteamOS just fine. Look at the Steam Deck. It can play a sizable chunk of your Steam library. The dream of a console-like PC experience in the living room is great, but the big question is there really a demand for it? Like, I'll certainly get one, but the big question is, what's stopping me from just building my own DIY HTPC? I mean, I can certainly do it, and there are PC cases that are shaped like a console, and I could definitely install Bazzite for the SteamOS-like experience. Or better yet, why not get one of those framework desktops and install Baza on it instead? And the biggest answer, of course, is simplicity. It'd be way easier to buy a Steam frame than it is to buy even a framework desktop and install Baza on it, because the Steam frame comes pre-installed with SteamOS. And most people cannot be trusted to install an OS, even if they had a gun pointed at them. But of course, I just realized I never actually talked about the Fremont results and what the specs technically are. Now, of course, this is for a piece of hardware that hasn't even officially been announced yet, so the specs are always subject to change. But of course, if the specs are to be believed, then we'll be getting a Zen 4 CPU with a dedicated, yes, dedicated GPU, an RX 7600, which isn't the top end, but it's also a pretty decent size, and it's substantially better than the Steam Deck, graphically speaking. The 7600 seems like a pretty decent GPU, but I'm seeing some benchmarks compared to Strix Halo, you know, the new APU that's coming to some handhelds and coming to the framework desktop. Yeah, the Strix Halo APU looks like a better option, and part of me wonders why Valve didn't opt for that instead. But we'll never know, and we don't even know if this is the official spec, so it's always subject to change. It's never too late to switch to Strix Halo, Valve. But it's also worth mentioning that the Steam Frame trademark also mentions specifically video game controllers. Now, what does this mean? Well, I can tell you that Valve certainly modeled a brand new Steam controller of sorts. Codenamed Ibex, this looks like it has all the control methods the Steam Deck has. Like, imagine a Steam Deck, cut out the screen and cut out a bit of the fat, and you've got yourself a Steam controller basically. Of course, if you remember Valve's original goal with the Steam controller, their goal was to make all games, not just controller-based games, but PC and mouse-based games playable on the TV in the living room. The original Steam controller did that, but it also sort of alienated quite a few people. There is a dedicated group dedicated to playing with the Steam controller, Heck, I even have a Steam controller, but the truth is that most people didn't jive with it due to the lack of traditional controls. And yes, the Ibex looks to accomplish the same thing, albeit with more controls. Yes, more standard controls, and the improved trackpads that the Steam Deck has compared to the Steam controller. As for the ergonomics, I mean, it's kind of hard for me to judge how ergonomic this controller is, at least without actually having it in hand, or maybe even having a 3D printer to print this out. Should I invest in a 3D printer? I'd love to hear your thoughts. So all in all, this further cements Valve's plans to eventually break out into the living room once again. This time, hopefully, more successful now that Proton's been proven to be a great way to play video games. Not to be a Linux YouTuber or anything, but Linux gaming has improved substantially since the old days of the Steam machine. As such, Valve shouldn't be repeating a lot of the same mistakes the original Steam machines had. I'm just hoping that Valve actually releases a Steam machine instead of just making a prototype that most people will never have and leaving to the other manufacturers, because as you know, the other manufacturers were admittedly part of the reason why Steam machines failed. All in all, if Valve wants to succeed, they'll need to make their own hardware and sell their own Steam machine this time. The console itself is pretty exciting, but I'm mostly excited for the console because of the new Steam controller. We've been starved for a new Steam controller for almost a decade, if not actually a decade. But there is one more thing we have to talk about, the other, and yes, I really do mean the other trademark that they registered. It's also called Steam Frame, but it's for other stuff instead. The trademark here covers the category of computer hardware, computer networking hardware, computer peripherals, computer hardware and computer software for the reproduction, processing, and streaming of audio, video, data, text, and multimedia content. That last little bit mentioning streaming is very interesting because a long time ago, Valve introduced the Steam Link, low-powered hardware designed to stream from your PC to your TV. And this hardware is one of the first instances of basically having a home streaming service where you would stream from your PC to your TV. Is Valve looking to bring this back as well? I mean, it could be interesting. But at the same time though, you can get the Steam Link app on like a Chromecast or an Apple TV if you have one of those. Or Roku. I think Roku has one too, but I've never used a Roku, so I don't know for certain. All I know is that Valve wants a Steam Frame ecosystem. But will other companies have Steam Frame inside? Like, should we expect Lenovo to jump on this bandwagon and make a Legion box, so to speak? A Legion box with Steam Frame inside? Is that how that's gonna work? I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. But of course, we're missing the last major detail, and that's trademark names may not necessarily mean that's what the product's gonna be called. I mean, Valve trademarked Neon Prime 2 years ago, and guess what that game's called now? Deadlock. Yeah, that's right. Deadlock is Neon Prime, or rather, Neon Prime is Deadlock. So yeah, there's no guarantee that this will be called the Steam Frame. But honestly, if it's gonna be like an ecosystem of devices, Steam Frame may not be such a bad name after all. I mean, to be honest, I thought the Steam Deck was kind of a stupid name, to be honest, but hey, the Steam Deck was a major success, and I love my Steam Deck, so yeah, I was wrong. If you like this video, please press the like button and check out our other videos, and if you like those other videos as well, be sure to press the subscribe button and share the good gospel of high-tech lowlife with your friends. Furthermore, we have a community Discord for enlightened individuals such as you. And if you wish to further support high-tech lowlife, be sure to check out our Patreon page. Links in the description.